Are you a business owner or entrepreneur who's had great success in the business world, and now you want to launch a speaking career to share your message with the world? If that's you, then listen up. 25-year speaking industry veteran Brett Ridgway has released his latest special report, 3 key things entrepreneurs must master to build a profitable speaking business. To pick up your copy, go to brettridgway.com/freebie. Welcome to the Spotlight on Speaking show with Brett Ridgway, where you'll learn the keys to building a profitable speaking business from speaking industry pros. Each week, we interview a great guest who will share his or her speaking journey, identify what their keys to success have been, and highlight some critical mistakes they've made along the way that you'll want to avoid. Be sure to visit our website at spotlightonspeaking.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, sit back, tune in, and get ready to meet this week's guest.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Spotlight on Speaking show with Brett Ridgway. I am your host, and I'm excited to welcome as my guest today, Albert Corey. Albert has a couple Amazon bestsellers, worked with great mentors like Grant Cardone, Bill Walsh, and Tony Robbins, just to name a few. Just, some of the lower names in the industry, sure. Has been in business for almost 40 years and worked with almost 25,000 business owners, saving them over $60 million. His Amazon bestseller is called Increase Profits While Drinking Coffee. And when he's not working, you can see him trading pins at Disney World. His program is called the Cash Injection System, and it empowers business owners to put more money in their pockets almost instantly. And how it shows them how they can increase their bottom line so that they can change the world. Welcome, Albert Corey, to the Spotlight on Speaking show.
Thank you, Brett, for having me. What this shows you, Brett, I think you put a post that we're just one post away from meeting new people. I think in this world today of everything digital, everybody has to click on links and start working and talking. And next thing you know, you're meeting an amazing guy who's changing the world like Mr. Brett.
Well, I appreciate that very much, Albert. And I think we met at one of the networking events fairly recently, and that, or actually we were introduced by Judy Baker, I believe.
Okay. Yes.
So, any business is all about relationships, honestly.
Yes,
And that's
yes, sir.
Certainly true in the speaking world. And so I'd like to talk, Albert, about your speaking journey a little bit, because you've been on big stages with a lot of big names and all that. So how'd you even get started in the whole speaking industry in the first place?
Well, it goes back to what I almost said. When you start showing up to events, cool things happen. As it turned out, I always wanted to speak and help people. I mean, I have a real tax office in the Miami area. We pretty much did over 145,000 clients in the last almost 40 years. Well, it turns out to being that I wanted to do something else during the off season. Well, 1 event, 2 events, 3 events later, next thing you know, I'm hanging out on power team stages.
Well, Bill Walsh is certainly, like I said, when we were talking before the program, the Pied Piper of speaking. So you've been able to learn from a lot of the true masters of the industry.
Yes.
So how many years are we going back, Albert, till you got on that stage for the first time?
Well, I got on the stage in 2019. I'll never forget the day. It was in Phoenix of 2019. It's a small business expo with about 60 people in the room. I remember that day like it was yesterday.
I'm sure. So your niche specifically is what, Albert?
Is business success, how to put money in your pocket. That's basically what I talk about, whether it's grassroots marketing or accounting. I'm going to show you how I put money in my pocket, how I grew my business. I took $10, Brett, in 1985 and built a global brand. $10 in 85. And I used and I got the most amazing system that works today. If you're broke, have no money, I have this new, it's an old system that I bet you nobody doesn't know what it is, Brett. You know what it is?
I don't know what it is.
The left foot, right foot system works every time, dude. Every time.
All right. You have to elaborate on that.
It's called, back in the day, we would go to Office Depot at 10 o'clock. I would go Office Depot and make 400 and make 100 flyers. 100 flyers. I knew if I cut them into quarters, 400 papers. I would then go every Sunday morning for years and put them on cars and condos, or, condos in the area, because I couldn't do houses because houses are too far apart. But if I went to condos, okay, there's always a lot of cars in an area. It's at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, you got the whole parking lot's always full. So you'd go every Sunday at 7 o'clock because you got the audience. So you can put a lot of flyers out in a short time on cars.
Well, you're definitely going old school there, my friend.
Old school still works. We used to still pass out. Up until COVID, our office used to pass out probably about 30,000 flyers a year, 40,000. We stopped after COVID. You know why? Because nobody wants to work. So we don't do it anymore.
So nobody wants to work for you? I mean,
You just can't get nobody to pass out the flyers for you.
Oh, okay. Got you. All right.
Nobody wants to pass out flyers and get your ass out and work. So we don't do it.
All right. So wrapping back around to your speaking journey a little bit more. So you started attending these events and they found out apparently your area of expertise and invited you to start speaking on their platform.
Yes.
Because they thought you had valuable information to share with their audience, which I'm sure that you do every time. So in my mind, Albert, there are, you have your platform sellers, you have your keynote speakers, and you have people that are just using it for business building purposes. Which of those arenas do you feel that you fit best under?
I'm a hybrid of everything because I'm a business builder, but also when I'm on the stages, obviously I'm looking to get, bigger clients. So I'm a hybrid. When I'm on stage, I was always taught you give value. I was always taught you give 80 to 90% of what you do away. Boom, you give it all away for free. Because what starts to happen is the analogy I've always used is I'm going to give you the keys to my kingdom, to the door. So if my keys open up the door, then you're not my client. I'm after the client who needs help. So the person who can't turn the key, Mr. Brett, is now my client.
All right. So as a hybrid type speaker or whatever, what do you feel have been, aside from relationships, what are your biggest keys to being successful as a speaker? What do you think are the most important things?
I think as a speaker, you got to look not only at relationships, but as you go to events. See, the speaking world gets you on the stages. It puts you on a pedestal since a lot of people don't want to speak. So as you get put on the quote unquote pedestal, you start meeting amazing people. And then the good things come in. Brett, you might not hear a great example where we met through somebody else at an event that I was speaking, that you might not, can't think of her name now. She's out of Northern California, but she hooked me up with somebody else. That's how we met with you. So that's the hybrid portion of it. That you get put on the pedestal and that opens up more doors to do whatever you have to do.
So in your mind, Albert, what makes a speech a successful speech?
When they're not falling asleep and playing on their phone?
Well, that bar's pretty low.
No, not really. Because, and I've been doing this now for like 4 years. Probably did over 100, maybe more, different ways. Is you got to make it exciting for people to talk to. I mean, people can go on my YouTube channel. That's Albert. You can go to YouTube, Albert Corey, and you'll see that I'm like, hey, no, it's like you got to make people laugh. And, my style is, it's not like, my style is I'm out there, I'm making people laugh, I'm getting people to smile. So it's not boring.
Well, obviously, you deal with a subject that many would find less than exciting, let's just say. So you talk about keeping them energized and excited and all that and laughing. So what are some of your best keys for truly building rapport with that audience so that your message does resonate with them?
Got to tell stories, dude. Stories to tiebacks. First rule of speaking from stage. stories to tiebacks. I learned that from Bill Walsh. I learned that from James Dentlin, who I really know and love, who helped me with speaking. It's all about tiebacks. You have to tell stories. You cannot, Brett, talk about whatever you talk about, and you got to tell a story to tie it back to your business, because people don't want to hear. Great example of the story I always talk about, how you have to know somebody that knows deductions. Well, the story I use is I talk about how a tomato. You ever try to cut a tomato with a dull knife? What happens, Brett?
Flat.
Thank you. However, one I started to use, but I don't think it was gonna, so I had to change it up a little bit. So now then I said, well, how about if you ever, everybody heard, raise your hand if you ever heard of the Ginza knife?
Sure.
Probably people are not old enough to get it, but that was originally.
Oh, yeah.
With the Ginza knife, they got the sharp knife. And they go like this, the sharp knife. So what would happen? Okay. Now you the same thing in your accounting. Whoever's going to do your work for you, whether it's accounting or everything, they better know what they're talking about. The sharp knife gets people engaged. So in my world, the accountant better be the sharp knife. He better know the deductions to help you save money. It's your job to ask them in your industry, not to do my work. Hey, do you know what VAs is? If I go to an event, can I deduct it all? How can I deduct it? So that if you got the right person, we're going to go back to the tomato story, that they know the sharp knife, and they know the deductions to put money in your pocket, to inject cash in your pocket.
All right, so I have a couple other questions I'd like to ask you, Albert, but before we do, let's take a quick break for a word from our sponsor.
Are you a business owner or entrepreneur who's had great success in the business world, and now you want to launch a speaking career to share your message with the world? If that's you, then listen up. 25-year speaking industry veteran Brett Ridgway has released his latest special report, 3 key things entrepreneurs must master to build a profitable speaking business. To pick up your copy, go to brettridgway.com/freebie.
And we are back with the Spotlight on Speaking show, and my guest this week is Albert Corey. So, Albert, one of my favorite questions always to ask my guest is, okay, bare your soul a little bit here and tell me something that you've done in your speaking journey that was a mistake, that was embarrassing maybe at the moment, left you a little red face, but a valuable lesson was learned, and it would be something that you would highly advise new and upcoming speakers not to make.
Well, guess what? This happened to me a lot until I figured it out. Do not depend on your PowerPoints. Okay. I've learned in the last probably year that hey, you can ask me to do the presentation on how to inject cash, and boom, I'm out. Okay. But sometimes when I try to do it with a PowerPoint lately, my mouth and fingers don't connect. Okay. Yep. Slides don't work. So now I learned a lot of times I tell people, guys, in the beginning, hey, look, you're going to hear my content, but the slides aren't always going to match. So.
Yeah, I tend to speak more without PowerPoint these days than with PowerPoint on.
Right, because you can't make it match. Not make it match, just that I go just like you. I'm like more of a freestanding where I'm going to go. And even sometimes, here's a trip for future speakers that I'm kind of teaching other speakers is you got to learn your stuff in blocks. Mm-hmm. And I meant by block, if you know it all in blocks, that's why PowerPoints don't always work.
Right.
Because I got everything memorized in blocks. So like the other day I was in Vegas. I don't know, where was that? Can't remember where. That I forgot the block. So what happened? I realized I'm at the end. I'm getting like the 5 minutes to go. And then, oh shoot, I forgot a block. In my mind, and I went back, okay, this is block 3. And I went back and put the block in. Nobody's going to know you missed the block.
Right. Well, it's so important to modularize your speech in some way, because you can go into an event thinking you got a 60-minute slot and they're running behind, and the event promoter says, hey, well, Albert, can you do it in 45? We got to get back on schedule or whatever. So right. You got to know what you can leave out or insert to lengthen or shorten any presentation based on the situation.
So, but if you learn your stuff by blocks, Brett, I'm saying if you learn it in blocks, mm-hmm. If you forget something, you say, oh man, since I remember it in a block, I can come back and I can come back, I can come back and bring it back in. Another thing most speakers don't realize is nobody doesn't know the flow of your content. So if you miss a spot, nobody doesn't know you miss it, so you can bring it back around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great lesson. So, Albert, I want to give you a couple minutes to tell people a little bit more about what it is that you do and how they can get involved in your world if they so choose.
So, thank you. Thank you, Fred, for having me on. My name is Albert Corey. My team and I will inject cash in your business with less stress and capital. And it would be, Brett, it would be okay if I give an amazing gift and how they can start putting money in your pocket almost instantly? Would it be okay?
By all means.
So you can go to CoreyBiz.com, CoreyBiz.com, and we got our free video on how to inject cash in your business almost instantly. It's the same system I've used to assist over 145,000 clients in almost 40 years in business.
All right. Well, outstanding. Well, we'll make sure that appears down in the show notes down below. So CoreyBiz.com. And Albert, I want to thank you so much for jumping on here with me this morning. And as always, thank you listeners for tuning in, watching, listening, whatever it may be. If you haven't been to spotlightonspeaking.com, hop on over there and register with your favorite service to be notified of upcoming episodes. And as always, I wish you the greatest of success in all that you do. And may this year be your greatest year yet. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
This has been the Spotlight on Speaking show with Brett Ridgway. Be sure to join us every week as we interview speaking industry pros and have them share their best tips for building a profitable speaking business. Until next week, thank you for tuning in, and remember to visit our website at spotlightonspeaking.com so you can enjoy even more great episodes like this one. While you're here, be sure to subscribe via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Spotlight on Speaking show. Until then, our sincere best wishes to you for the greatest of success as you work to build your own profitable speaking business.